sparingly goes to sleep
Cute.
because she, I guess, she feels like she's gonna miss something if she's asleep. So,
All right, we're recording already. Should I go live?
let's do it.
Just so you know, I actually was on it last time. I had sent our video to my video guy who's in New York.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because I'm trying to get it like chopped up so we can advertise it or whatever.
Yeah.
And hold on. Wifey's looking all like refreshed and stuff. I was dragging. I would have been like, y'all,
Yeah, no, it's, and everybody's back to work now. She's back to work too, dealing, like you're saying, like dealing with headaches of people, and then things. She works in immigration law, so, these are not the funnest times during this administration.
It would be a terrible time.
Yeah, no, like it's the horror stories of what's happening to people, the odd places. I remember there was one time where she literally, on like a day's notice, had to go to fly to Atlanta because I guess the way you file people's cases, if you're an attorney, you have to there's like a special provision to be able to do things electronically, or if not, you have to show up in person to court. And this guy just out of the blue just got picked up in Atlanta and was just in jail. So then she had to go fly to Atlanta on like a day's notice to go help him get out. It's immigration is a pain in the ass.
So hey people on Facebook, just so you know, LC and I are talking about his wife who's an immigration attorney. So,
yeah, being an immigration lawyer in Trump's America is a motherfucker.
And Netflix about immigration where the people are going around picking up people?
It's on her list, but it's almost like
she lives it.
Don't want to watch it because, it's like the real life horror stories, like the real clients that she has, as I was telling you before, I think we went on Facebook. It's like, she flew to Atlanta one time on like a day's notice because just out of the blue, ICE came and got this guy and just picked him up, threw him in jail. And he was, just baffled because it wasn't even because what they're doing to people is not even like they're, stepping out of bounds or anything like that. They could just be just waiting for their day in court, but then they just want to just expedite certain processes where it's just like, oh, we put you in deportation proceedings, but you normally have time so you can go back before the judge in order to plead your case. They're not even giving people the chance to do that. They're just throwing you in jail, and then now you got to do some legal wrangling to get out just to get the same liberties that you were supposed to have before. Which
you mean like black people when we're waiting on bail? Okay, yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. When people always say, what's the big deal about arresting someone? I'm like, well, when you get arrested, we get arrested just for suspicion. You just get arrested, right? And, but, when they talk about Breonna Taylor, arrested is.
Well, if people want to know what the big deal is, just go, which I think to this day is the most popular post on my personal blog, Khalif Browder. He was arrested.
Just arrested.
Just arrested. Wasn't convicted of nothing.
Just a suspicion.
Just they found out, later on that he literally did nothing, but he still spent 3 years in Rikers, where I think it was 90% of the time or something like that, he was in isolation. So imagine being in isolation for 90% of 3 years to not be convicted of anything.
Right. And
so,
your family can't pay your bail.
And it's all comes right, and that's exactly what it is. It all comes down to money because his mother couldn't get enough money to get him out, and it's just and the thing I always, when it came to that story, I always felt for her so bad because it's when you realize, I think the amount was I could be wrong, I think it was $3,000 or something like that, which you think. If you reach a certain level in life, you can probably find some way to get $3,000. But then I also know what it's like to be fucking broke, and you can't, you just can't scrape together.
Real talk. Yeah.
You can't just scrape together $3,000. Like, you can't just go to some uncle or go to some aunt or some cousin, you know, to help you out. Or even if you do, it still might not add up enough. So this man is sitting. I mean, if anybody knows anything about Rikers Island, one of the worst fucking places to be in the world,
yes.
if not the worst.
If not the worst.
For 3 years. For 3 years, not convicted of anything. It's craziness.
It happens all the time. That's why my any little money I have, I've been putting toward bail for people who've in the Black Lives Matter movement and marching, because, you know, they get picked up, they throw them in the van, and, you know, they're stuck there sometimes, you know, so just helping them. And a lot of people have been doing that, you know, trying to get people out, because they will stick your ass in there until you rot and die. I do not care. And you have not been convicted of any crime.
Of anything. Because, I mean, people, you can talk about, you know, prison all you want to, which prison is also horrible. but it's like just the amount of people who just haven't even been given their fair share due process, just sitting in these county jails or these, you know, more high profile jails all across the country. And it's like, yeah, no, there's Khalif Browder's happening every day. We just know he's just, you know, the poster child of that situation. But that is a very real situation that affects tons of people. It's just that, you know, his story is one of the few that got national attention.
National. And I would dare say that most of the people that I talk to in organizations have never still heard of him, to be honest. It's funny because I was watching, I think it's MTV, you know, they're the ones who started 16 and Pregnant.
Yeah, my wife loves that show.
Yeah, I love the show too. But the one thing that always annoyed me about it was that, you know, here they always, forever, we were dogged with being teenage pregnant, you know, teenage parents. And they'd always say Black people were having these illegitimate babies and where the daddies or whatever. So when finally you actually get paid for this thing that they think is a national disgrace, they have white people who are making, you know, money. Like they're having careers, buying houses and nice cars, and become literal stars for the exact thing that Black people for years had been, you know, attacked with.
The funny thing about that too is, think about the most visible example. Like you say, they make it a stigma of minorities, black and brown people.
Right.
But like, I remember when Sarah Palin's daughter was running out here. Getting pregnant. Wasn't it twice? Did she do it twice?
Oh, yes.
The upstanding Christian delegation who never did anything wrong, and they can
tell. That's different when they do it.
Of course.
That's different. So they have another show that is, I think it's 16 and Sober. So it's a school for people who are severe drug addicts. And they film the school. It's a limited engagement. And it's, instead of going to jail for all these drug charges, they go to the school and they get to, you know, have high school, and they're showing up all kinds of ways. Now, how do you think that the students look that get to go to the school? They don't go to jail for drug charges. How do you think they look?
Of course. Because they're just, you know, misguided souls. You know, they just need somebody to hear them out, and you know, they've had such troubled lives.
Right.
And,
right.
It's amazing how many pleas you'll see cops for people. I think I brought it up on this on one of our videos before, like this case these two 12-year-old girls, like the Slender Man.
Oh yeah, we talked about it. Yeah.
It's like they murdered their friend.
Yes.
And like and the
like
whole
was like stones. Like it was a brutal murder.
Right. And then they were saying, just
stabbing.
I don't even think that it was, you know, really them. Something had to have come over them, and just like one of them I think had legitimate mental issues, but then the other one, they said, got mental issues because of her proximity to the one that had mental issues. I'm just like, man.
Either way, they found a way to
keep that amount of leeway for anything. Like, I wish somebody would give me that much of a leash.
Well, and that's what I mean. So you watch this show, and I'm like, I don't see how people, and don't get me wrong, your perspective in life shapes how you see things. But I am surprised that of all the people at MTV, they didn't look at it and say, this is really a bigger commentary on what privilege is, because all these kids have second chances, right? They are given, and no, by the time they go there, they're given like, it's like their fifth chance. And they don't go to prison. And yet those same people will talk about drug issues, or if people would just follow the law, they would not get arrested. Why wouldn't they just listen? Why wouldn't they comply? And so you got to check it out. So check out that show. I was annoyed by it. I mean, I was just truly annoyed just by the privilege. But we have a center near me that is for 14 and below drug addicted children, white. I mean, I don't see them, but just where I am, I'm assuming that they're white. And again, second chances. And I'm not saying those people should not get second chances. I'm just saying, if we're going to do it for some, let's do it for all.
I'm glad you said that, because I feel like that a lot of times gets misconstrued in the conversation. Like when we bring up, like, for example, like we're talking about, people who've survived encounters with the police, for example. They make it seem like, oh, what did you want them to get shot too? No, I don't want them to get shot either. Like, no. I don't want anybody to get shot. This is literally the point. I want them to treat, us with the same, deference that they do with other subjects. Like, that's
actually see a human.
Right. Like, I like, because that's the thing is, and people can disagree with me if they want to. Like, a lot of times you'll hear things about, oh, they just need better training. They need better training. I'm like, no, they have the training. Because they do it. They actually do it. They just don't do it with us. Like if you can, like I said, we can go down the list. They safely apprehended Dylan Roof and got him some Burger King.
All of those, right.
They safely apprehended the guy who shot up the movie theater in Colorado.
Right.
It's like they have the ability to do it. They just don't do it for us. But then they look at us as inherently the threat, as opposed to the people who actually committed real threats. Like, so am I more of a danger to you than the white kid who killed 9 people in a church? Like,
But you are.
You need to whoop my ass a little bit more than the guy who killed 9 people? Like,
yeah, because you're seen as a danger, sadly. I mean, this in America, sadly. Let's talk, when you talk about people like kind of blaming the victim and all that, Breonna Taylor's family, was it 12 million or 19 million?
I think 12, yeah.
12 million. And literally are people going out like, well, see, now they're happy now, as if they actually planned the murder of their sleeping child, lover, friend, family member. They planned that. It's certainly their fault because, they got the settlement. And not saying, gosh, the taxpayers, because the cops aren't paying shit and still aren't arrested, not paying one dime. But blaming like as if that was all that Breonna Taylor's family wanted. Like, that's the only reason they did. Like, they wish that their loved one was alive.
You see how people miss the point? Here's the point.
Because they want to miss it.
You got to pay attention to everything, in the sense that, okay, let's go down the list. Let's go down the list. 1, they changed the law about no-knock warrants. 1. 2, they dropped all charges against her boyfriend. 3, they settled with the family for $12 million. Literally everything you can do except arresting the motherfucker. That's literally like,
this shows how protected they are.
They're trying every other thing but just actually arresting somebody. And the thing is, because and everything is being done, I believe, to just try and satiate the anger, where it's like, all right, look, guys, we did this. Are we cool now? It's like, no, that's literally never what we asked for.
That was never the point.
We want people to be held accountable for their actions. Or if you want to go the route of paying $12 million, it's not going to cover the 12 million, but at least all their pension needs to go to that 12 million. I guarantee you some people will think twice about pulling the trigger. I think I wrote this the other day.
But that is what punishment is. You punish people so they will not do something again.
Right.
So
Like
we would like for you to stop killing our asses.
You don't want to send them to prison. You don't want to arrest them. You don't want to do anything. But you're still giving them an avenue to provide for their family. Like just I think last year, the year before that, when they when they fired the cop who choked Eric Garner to death. Before he got fired, he was promoted. Like, so not only are they able to skate on these things, they're able to progress in their careers. Like, I think the same thing, I mean, I could be wrong, but I think the same thing happened to the woman cop who killed Terrence Crutcher. I think she was.
We can go all the way back to Furman, who was the main abuser with Rodney King. I mean, he wrote a book, retired, bought a major, huge ranch, like, I don't know, it was Idaho or someplace, and was living La Vida Loca, became a very wealthy man for murdering. It actually was a benefit to him. I mean, come on. I mean,
all around the board, you can look at Central Park 5. I think the DA who was working at the time was pissed off at Ava's depiction of her.
And sued.
And then sued. It's just like, wow. So you get to railroad some teenagers' lives, and you don't like the optics. You were able to have a career after this. You were literally able to have a career and continue on with your life, have more success, while these kids rotted away in prison for years. And you don't like the optics of it all.
So you don't like how you're being portrayed. I mean, let's just talk about it.
You know how people hate being portrayed? Like I'm a rapist. I'm pretty sure they didn't like that either. They didn't like
right.
being a rapist and then ended up in prison. I'm pretty sure they didn't like
that's I guess we just don't matter. That's why, yeah. So what has tripped me out this week is how Trump has started this regulation where he's going to have patriotic curriculum and really trying to kill any education that we have about racism in America. And then he did, was it he or someone did a speech about we are trying to teach that America is racist and how terrible we are. I'm like, America was founded on racism. It was the only way that, the entire documents say that Black people are less than white people. It's the way we were enslaved. It doesn't mean that we can't make a change, but let's not ever, they want to take that one line that said all men are created equal. They weren't even talking about us when they said that. We weren't even considered in the men line. And so they become very angry. They come on my page and they're like, why are people so upset? Why are you trying to destroy America? We're like, we're trying to fix it. It was never good for us.
I think was it Jimmy Kimmel? It might've been Jimmy Kimmel. Like he has this thing where he likes to go to the street and then ask people outlandish questions just to like get their.
I love that. Yeah, Letterman used to do that too.
And I think somebody asked him because it was around the time that Trump's original campaign was going on, and make America great again. So it was just a simple question: when was America great before? Right?
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, and then people's responses like, oh, back in this era, and then they would list, oh, so when this and this and this was happening. And then no response back because it's just like, so when people say these things that you're trying to kill America, then it always begs the question, which America are you talking about? Like, I would really like to know, like, what, these are the times that I don't even necessarily want to just argue with people and throw darts back and forth. It's like a genuine question. I want to know, what is your vision of America? What do you honestly believe?
And what they would say to you is, I'm telling you.
Because the time
all day, they would say, we want America to be a place where everybody gets along and we all love one another. Right, but what I'm saying is what they judge are reactions and not the actions that caused it. So they think that our reaction at being murdered and not having equal pay and all these things is the problem, that we are being divisive because we're complaining about being treated poorly, instead of saying, we've treated you poorly, let's fix that. If we would just be quiet, America could be great again. If we would just not complain and shut up and act like everything's happy, America would be great again, because they were feeling good about it. Everything was great. They didn't know how miserable we were. And quite candidly, they didn't give a fuck, right? They really didn't. The worst part of everything right now is that they are aware of how racist this place is, how miserable we've been, and they don't want to hear about it. And like a report came out today, Black Lives Movement support is down 12%. As of today, which I knew was going to happen, because people were going to do Black Lives Matter movement to a point that it made them feel good about themselves. I am a good person. I wrote a check, or I stayed up here, or I listened to my Black friend cry. I'm done. And the fact that they're not understanding that we want huge change and that this is an entire movement and not a moment, 12% down already.
Oh,
12% down, like, and I promise you,
so less people support people mattering. Like that's what this is essentially what we're saying.
Well, okay. We're no longer people. A great marketing job has now made us be as thugs. So if there are, 3,000 people at a rally and there's 7 who loot, and even if the 7 aren't Black, the Black Lives Matter movement is about looting and destroying. And who gives a damn about, the 2,797 who are there peacefully just asking and begging for rights, right? When people speak up, like they make Kaepernick, like you are not patriotic if you speak up against racism. They have created, it's been a brilliant marketing plan to say, if you speak up against America and say what you don't like, you are not patriotic. Like,
which reminds me, did we talk about this? Did we talk about Kansas City Chiefs? I forgot who they were playing.
Oh, the booing?
Yeah, did we talk about that?
If we did, let's talk about it again, because I'm mad. I don't think we did. I don't know.
Because you brought up Kaepernick and it made me think about it. It's like, so can we put to rest the notion that this was ever about the troops and the anthem? Can we put that?
Can we stop pretending?
I mean, can we stop pretending? Because
let's just not pretend.
Think about this. I want anybody who's watching this, think about this. After the anthem was done, they just held arms with each other.
Which is what supposedly these people want.
And were booed.
Yep.
They just held arms with each other after the anthem and were booed. So don't tell me this was about the anthem. Don't tell me this is about the troops. It's about none of that shit. It was about none of that shit. You just don't like solidarity. You don't like solidarity.
You would actually, these are the people who would rather have divisiveness, because if actually people are joined together, then Black people could have equal rights. They do not like that there's some white people who are now actually saying and seeing and believing, no, Black people should have equal rights too. They see that as betrayal. And so these are people who are racist, right? That's what it is, because they do not want an entire race to have what they have. Don't think that we deserve it.
Locking arms is a booable offense.
Well, because the leader of this country is everything is a war. It's never about what he's doing. It's what the other person isn't doing. So everything from wearing a mask, which, every freaking scientist in the world, the World Health Organization has said it's the #1 way to stop the spread of whatever. But because he's made it a political thing, and, you're either on this team or that team, and these people who are so just, they don't think for themselves. Anything that man says, they'll do. And so that's where we are.
Sorry if I'm going off on tangents, people. Thank you for bringing that up, because that made me think.
That's what we do.
That made me think of something else, because you talk about Trump and masks, and it made me think of Bob Woodward. Fuck Bob Woodward. Let me tell you why.
Bob Woodward.
Because you knew all of this shit this entire time.
Months.
And waited until you needed to sell a fucking book to go talk about any of it. So now that it's for profit, now that you can, sell your former
make millions.
Yeah, you can sell your former overseer up a creek. Now that it's for profit, and it's another thing that even though, like, because one of the women who were on his original coronavirus task force, who came out and said that, like, the way he's handled this has been terrible, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, how many people who have worked for him need to come out and be like, shit's terrible over there? And mind you, a lot of them were appointed by him. So it's not like you can't even throw partisan shit in there. These are people that he chose for these jobs. Leave these positions and say, yo, it's fucked up over there. But then still, all of a sudden, it's like, no, they're all wrong. They're all raving against me, et cetera, et cetera. It's just like, all right, so it's one thing if people that don't like you are saying bad shit about you, because that's what you expect. But then if it's people who were at one point in time with you, appointed by you, then they turn around and say that, no, this motherfucker's crazy. Like, what?
And a lot of them do.
You need to know. I really do believe what he said. The one true thing he's ever said in his life is, I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and get away with it. He could.
Well, let me ask you this. It begs the question, what is your price? Like, because even though we're saying these people are coming out of his administration, a lot of people have, his top, everybody, a lot of people have. And decrying who he is as a person and what's going on over there, they don't do it until they're gone, right? So it's like when they're on the inside posse, they're good, right? They're like, yeah, what's up? That's our boy. And when they get let go, which is why it can be seen as resentment. And I'm like, what is your price? Because I don't see how Woodward, because he's a multi-million, like, made a killing off of selling this book on information that he knew for a long time that very possibly could have saved lives. And he's trying to justify it by saying, oh, maybe nobody would believe me. What makes you think that people who don't believe you still don't believe you now because they're in a cult?
I mean, you're not writing a fiction book.
Right. And so, like, the woman, if you are a professional in the health field at all, and you know that your leader is fucking this up and you are watching people die and struggle and not make it, I am not impressed that you're no longer work with him coming out. Like, I would love to think, and I could be wrong, that if I saw millions of people dying, if you were doing some stuff and you're like, people are hurting and sending you money, you're like, okay, send a check for $5,000 LC, I'll cure you of your whatever. I was hoping I would say, y'all, I ain't messing with LC. He ain't no good, y'all. He that oil that he's selling will not cure anything. He's so fast you can barely see him. It's like light.
But okay,
like
all right. Light. All right.
And I would say, y'all don't buy the oil. I like LC. I don't know what's up with this, but this oil is not going. It's not going to get you.
I'm reading from my Sean King playbook. You know what I mean? I'm trying to.
Right. So that would be just jacked up if 4 years later, people losing houses and stuff, and I'm like, yo, LC was never good. The whole time I was there, I knew he wasn't jacked. Like, at what point did you have any moral compass? I mean, I am so disgusted by the people, and we're supposed to be applauding these people like, you're so great because you're speaking up now. I'm like, now? It's like those people who get divorced, you're like, girl, I knew he wasn't shit. He was cheating on you the whole time. What?
Then on the flip side of what you're saying, then you have that, I believe she was a black nurse telling people that, they out here giving unauthorized hysterectomies to migrants in here. And they did everything they could to ruin her life, like, getting demoted, just like changing hours, doing all sorts of stuff. And it's just like, man, so then you get penalized for being a real life whistleblower for real.
And she will not. I hope someone advises her to write a book and get paid. You got something going on?
Give me a minute. All right, give me a minute.
It just gives me joy though, because I'm on the opposite end where, you know, I got my 19 and 17-year-old. I'm like, hey, so can we like, you know,
I'm sure that's coming. I'm sure that's coming.
can we chat it up? And they're like, yeah, no, ma. Like,
my 10-year-old is already like that. He's already a little bit too cool for us. Because I see the way, you know, I see the way he talks to his friends in his little group chats as opposed to us. I'm just like, I see you're putting on a facade in front of us, like, you know.
You can understand. Okay, speaking of group chats, can I just share this story? Hopefully. So my son is in class the other day, because, you know, they're all online class thing, and a girl's, you know, square goes blank, and it says her name. And how about they hear her having sex loudly
during class?
During class, and the professor's like saying her name. Not even professor, because this is my high school student.
Oh.
He was like, whatever her name is, I actually remember, but I won't say it. Let's just say he's like, Lindsay. And I mean, I'm talking about full on, like, and I'm like, and it wasn't a joke. I mean, like, she's just getting busy. So anybody out there who is giving, who's having online, whose kids are learning online, just understand that probably yours is bad, but it's not as bad as some people.
Because then you could be like that, and then it's just like, listen, I'm pretty sure you're not paying attention to nothing.
Yeah, your class participation grade is going down, and I'm like, and then she's got to go back to school. Like, everybody knows who she is.
We know now. Yeah,
and it was, and I mean, it was. Oh, because the reason why I know is that, you know, of course, then people started filming it, right? So they started filming the online session with her thing, and it was a male teacher, like, Lindsay, you know, trying to be like, said like, Lindsay.
Yeah. I want to listen. That's the time where you need to be a little bit more boisterous of a teacher. Hey.
No. At that moment, you end the meeting for all. You just cut that off, the whole meeting. It's over. Throw it in the trash. Okay, like 2020. Just throw it in the trash.
Happens to a lot of people. I think forgot what Zoom video it was where this woman forgot to turn off her thing, and then she didn't realize that, or at least she didn't realize her camera was on. She was definitely in the bathroom taking a dump or something like that. So it's like, on this Zoom call, just like, now we all see you on the toilet. It's like, yo, please, at least turn the camera off. Like, I mean,
could you go back to work after that?
Yeah, no, it's just like, no, I think you need to take the rest of the day off, you know, think about what you're doing.
No, forever.
And then maybe if you come back the next day, maybe just even if you're in your house, get fully dressed in work attire to make it seem like you're more professional. Because you need to overcompensate now for what you just did.
And nobody will ever forget it. But anyway, sorry, I had to just take that segue. But I don't know what else happened this week. Cardi B. Okay, this is very cynical of me. I'm older, so, you know, everybody's talking about Cardi being offset. Like, I'm so surprised. I'm like, I just thought it was like, it wasn't if, it was just like when. Like, did we think that we were going to see interviews with them when they were 75 years old? I can't even imagine them talking about their long marriage.
I mean, maybe this is just a pessimist in me, not specific to Cardi being offset. I just kind of think that way about most celebrity couples. Just because I feel like it's, just in general, it's incredibly difficult to be them in the spotlight constantly. And, you know, you're living, because first off, most divorces, period, end in divorce. I mean, most marriages, period, end in divorce. You magnify that with uber famous people who are constantly, you know, every move is, you know, being analyzed. Like, it's to the point now where they'll go in people's Instagrams to see, like, is this person still following this person? And just like, oh, hey, guy. And that's how news will break.
I cannot even imagine that.
And it's just like, man, I don't need nobody that far in my business at all. Like, not at all.
No, you know, it's funny because I purposely, for the most part, have always been pretty, I share all of me. People know all of me, but I do not share my personal life for the most part. Because of that. And it's like, and I'm nobody, right? You know, it's like I have my 3 people who pay attention, but I see how people will pick shit apart. I mean, it's been interesting to me, the things that people will notice. And so I'm like, yeah, it doesn't touch. But I feel sorry. I believe they both really loved each other. But I was just shocked at some people's like how like devastated. They should be devastated. I do believe they loved each other, but they are. That's a hard situation to be in. I can't even imagine.
This once again, this might not even be the right thing to say, but like I don't believe that. I mean, we don't know this to be a fact, but of course they're insinuating that infidelity is a cause of this, which because they've had issues with infidelity, before. If you're of a certain age and have a certain net worth, I don't think it's possible for people to be faithful. I don't. Like, I'm sorry. Like, if this guy's not even like, I don't know how old Offset is. He might be, even if he is 30, probably less than that. But it's like you got somebody under 30, really rich, around beautiful people all the time, and it's like you're expecting anybody to hold it down, and not just Offset, probably even Cardi too. Because I'm pretty sure there are plenty of suitors who are trying to throw it Cardi's way every day. So
let me say something to you.
Fame and money, like I don't know how easy it is to maintain.
You have really angered some people, but I agree with you 1,000.
I'm sorry.
No. And let me add this on top of what you just said. On top of the money, you take anybody with an ego. So if you're a star, that means you like people attending to, you like that applause all the time. You feed off of that feeling of having people look at you, right? And tell you how great you are. That is what drives you, even more than the money. Well, it's impossible actually for anybody's partner to make them feel beautiful, wonderful, needed, desired all the time, right? That's why people go out there, because you want that fire when someone's like, yeah. So you have someone whose need is all the way up here, and then whose opportunity is all the way up here. That, you're right, it makes for a bad situation.
For example, I'm not trying to tell anybody's business. These are all rumors, people. I don't know. But they're saying that when LeBron first went to Miami, they're like, he might have lost his mind a little bit down there. I was like, first off, let's look at all the factors, people. Like if we're talking. Because I think LeBron and I are like the same age. So I'm 35. We're talking about 2010, maybe. So 25. So 25, super rich, best basketball player in the world in Miami. Come on, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Listen, I'm not even mad.
It's not cool to say. And it's not right.
It's not cool to say. And it is. But it is very realistic.
It's real. It's
very realistic and understandable. Yeah. You just really, you have to be past a certain age, even for me to, I even say to my sons, I say, because they're going to fall in love, but like we talked about, is the maturity going to be enough to be in love and to operate in a relationship, right? For a long time. And so that's the hard part. Being in love is, you could do that. You could fall in love. That's easy.
No, because something you said on a video before, where you said that you felt like I was like more mature for my age. I was like, listen, let me tell you something. And it was specifically because I fucked up a lot, right? So when you talk about being in love and then being ready to do right, it's just like, man, listen, up until about 28, no bueno. Was no bueno.
And that's very normal. And it's. And people think, oh, he didn't really love you. I think Offset was crazy about Cardi. I don't think one has anything to do with another. Like, people would like to think that. I mean, and it is when you get older, but the maturity at a certain stage in life. You asking an 18-year-old can fall in love, but an 18-year-old being responsible with that love.
You also brought up a point that I feel like can be an entire episode in and of itself, which is, you're saying one has nothing to do with the other. I feel like that's something that is a common misconception in a lot of relationships, where something goes wrong in the relationship, and it could be male or female. Something goes wrong in the relationship, and the person who was done wrong internalizes it as if there was something wrong with them. And a lot of times it had nothing to do with you. It had almost nothing to do with you. It literally had everything to do with that person and their either ability to or inability to, you know, keep it cool. You know, so it almost never has to do with the other person. And
well, most things in life have nothing to do with the other person. I mean, sadly, I mean, it's where you are in life. I mean, there's certain times in life that you are not even set up or ready to be good to another person. I mean, I use this as an example. You know, I love nothing more, of course, than my sons. And had I gotten pregnant when my mother first passed away, I always questioned what kind of mother would I have been. I mean, of course, I would have found the strength to be a passable mother, but I don't know if I was prepared to love them the way they deserve to be loved, because I was messed up, right? I was just really, for me, messed up. And I think that, you know, we get our feelings hurt when maybe someone doesn't, you know, someone cheats on us or doesn't love us the way we think we deserve it. And it's like, it matters on the place that a person is right then, right? You know, you cannot catch a taxi if they already have an occupant. An occupant doesn't mean it's another person. It could just be the person is not available at that point. And so I'm dealing with that a lot right now. I have a lot of friends who are divorced and dating, and they met, you know, and someone could be recently divorced and they might be crazy about you. Like, this is the woman I always wanted, but they just got divorced like Thursday. Right?
Yeah,
you know, and so are they prepared to love again, right? Are they prepared to do that again?
No, that is extreme. That is extremely real. But like I said, that could be an entire dissertation.
You know what, let's have a day where we don't even, I don't know if we can, but yeah, let's have a day where we just dedicated to love and relationships. We did that, I think, Valentine's Day one year.
Yeah, we could do that. We just need, you know, people outside and not do nothing stupid, so we can focus on just that.
I know, that's what I'm saying. We were trying to have those kind of conversations, but the world is crazy. Well, anyway, I've held you long enough.
And he's back, buddy. All right,
guys, thanks for tuning in and hanging with us again.
Until next time, and I'm just gonna figure out what's so important over here.
See you later.
All right, y'all.
Have a good weekend.